Audio one.
Check, check, check. Oh man, I'm a right ear guy. This is weird.
We can
No, it's
switch.
fine. No. We're good.
You'll survive.
All right, welcome out to the Paramotor STOL Classics. This is what, James, day 2.5, I guess.
I'm already losing track. We are still in the front half of this event. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Tuesday afternoon. Reporting in 3 p.m. local. That's Eastern Standard Time.
Yeah, we are out here at the Paramotor STOL Classics tonight, and today has been the treasure hunt portion of the event. It's been quite the day. Some long flights this morning. We watched some folks on Gaggle. Tonight we are going to do the same as the pilots take off for the afternoon flight. We've got James here who's going to follow them on Gaggle with you guys. And what are we looking for, James?
Well, we're really interested in the strategy that these folks are taking this afternoon. These are not your normal paragliding conditions. These are paramotor conditions, PPG, PG. Um, in that generally we like to fly in nice air, and this is not what we consider nice air. If you're slow and boaty and you bump with the thermals, you do not fly through the thermals.
Which is a little bit different than it was this morning. This morning started off somewhat good, and then I guess as the pilots started coming in, they were saying it was pretty rough and bumpy up there.
Absolutely. And that's pretty standard where the overnight temps cool down and the atmosphere settles out and the air congeals down when it's cool and there's less movement.
And you were just looking at the map and showing us some stuff that's going to be happening tonight as we stay with these pilots. And what were you seeing on the weather?
So I was looking at a couple of forecasts, trying to predict what's going to happen because these pilots are on long flights. These are not recreational 20-minute jaunts around their backyard the way a lot of these folks are used to flying. These are some fill your tank up, prepare yourself, and get after it. The
Yeah,
folks are going out and flying 2.5, 3.5 hours
Yeah, I
in a
think the longest
stretch.
flight this morning was like 3.5 hours, and he still barely crept back to the. But some guys flew 2.5 hours and still had 4 liters of gas. So some great fuel consumption going on out there.
It's a huge mix, and I know James Sutherland is going to be running out of gas within 5 minutes of 2 hours from all the way fill. And
Oh,
then our Adam 80 pilot is going to be uh, floating around on half a tank of gas because it it doesn't consume fuel. It just sips.
so we're taking a look here at the Gaggle app. Who do we have in the sky currently?
Yeah, we've got a half a dozen pilots who were ambitious enough to take up the earlier you take off, the more flying time you get, but you have to deal with much rowdier conditions. So, not surprisingly, the heavier, more secure trikes were some of the first to take off. I believe I saw, is it Gudio on trike? We've got
Yep.
four trike competitors. I saw Gudio take off. James Sutherland took off on his. Oh, all sorts of fun moving map
Yeah,
business.
probably keep your eyes on this one. Hit a little delay over there. Yeah, so I believe was it Gudo that had the line strike this morning?
Yeah, he had a line strike, and then he managed to pull out a B glider, which is out of spec, but
But
it was a
slower.
worse performing wing, and so after the fact, his competitors had no problem with it. If you're flying somewhere you can't go very far on a competition where going far is the game, not a problem.
Yeah, and so what they after the morning flights, Leah got everybody together. They did a vote. The foot pilots decided to defer their vote to just the trike pilots, and they said that he was allowed to get those points because he kind of stepped down on a wing instead of stepping up on a
Hmm.
wing. So that was pretty cool to see. Right here at the Classic Stoll Comp. Rule changes I guess are happening as a full pilot effort, and you know it's a Stoll Comp. It's an official event.
It is official, but being the first of its kind, we're also learning incredible things for the future as they happen. as events unfold, we're discovering what's working and what's great. Here's one of the amazing features of Gaggle, the app that's available and being used exclusively for this competition, in that you can see information about the pilots and their previous flight tracks. It doesn't appear that Yoglin has used this before, so he doesn't have much of a history. But Jillian Wintermute has been flying with this app for a hot minute and has some fantastic stats and a lot of flights to her name. Recordings. She covered a ton of ground this morning on the treasure hunt, where they are going around and taking pictures of items of interest, things that you would want to go see while you're up from the air that appear like nowhere else. The view is unparalleled.
Looks like
And
looks like we got some ground pilot, or not ground pilots, but some pilots getting ready to take off from the LZ over here. Looks like we got Colby out there.
yeah,
Brennan's
he's
walking with
making
somebody.
mid competition adjustments to his wing. He's flying a 18-meter Gin Carve. That wing has quite a pedigree, with previous owners being Matt Minyard, one of the top Act Pro pilots, along with Evan Purdy, a legend down in the state of Florida.
And yours
Um,
truly as well, right?
I know I've flown that wing
Oh,
personally,
okay.
and it is just a pleasure to rip and throw around. You tear
Some
holes
some
in the
big
sky
names
flying that
on
wing.
that wing, and sure some good hours as well. We can see Colby there.
Yep. And so he's actually making some adjustments to his wing to account for uh, the specific characters and handling characteristics that he normally doesn't even pay attention to due to the conditions that he flies in back home, um, in the Carolinas, I believe.
Who do you know who we have there over in the yellow wing?
Over there in the yellow wing, that looks like Adrian.
Oh,
Adrian is our UK pilot, flying a brand new factory R Moster, and he's got an 18-meter Viper XC that he is going, and he set the record this morning with a 3.5 hour flight, top scores, and yet he did not find this morning the hidden treasure. We have a circle on the map here, 5 miles in diameter. For all of you pi r squared folks, that's a many square miles of which to search, which includes no-fly zones and a hidden object of interest that these pilots are going out and chasing.
we've had a few clues from our director Leah on what that is. She says it's permanent. She said you'll know it's her when you see it, that she put it there, and she said she's not going back to pick it up. So that's pretty much all she's left it out there to as any type of a hint for anybody to find this thing, whatever it is.
As a conservationist, I can tell you Leah won't be leaving anything out there to litter or to harm the environment or to be inhaled by snakes or wrap around the noses of turtles. So that's also going to take, it's not going to be a giant helium filled mylar balloon, um, is what I'm trying to say. But who do we have coming in here now? That looks like,
Guido, maybe? Guido, I mean.
it looks like it's not Nick Fazekas, and it's, oh, that's Hungarian himself, Cappy.
Cappy, yeah. He's got the smoke on his system, I
Yes,
believe.
sir. Yup. He was the one who his stall performance was harmed by the fact that he had a full tank of gas when weight is your enemy. And he had something like 16 liters full of fuel. There goes Adrian. He competed in the World Championships earlier this year, where he was one of the top pilots in the navigation and fuel efficiency tasks. So this is his type of bread and butter flying, where he will cover, telling me something almost like 200-kilometer flights,
Whoa.
which is a really big number, even if you don't understand the conversion. Um,
So let's talk about the tasks of the game tonight. What are the folks out there trying to do while they're in the sky?
Yeah, so these pilots have things they're trying to hit and things they're trying to avoid. Things they're trying to hit. We've got circles. The circles are tagged to a geographic point with an item of interest, something that if you were out flying, you saw it, you go, hey, that's interesting. We take pictures of interesting stuff all the time. And when they're flying over the spot, they're going to have their phone out, they're going to have their eyes up, and it looks like this is an intersection of multiple waypoints. What we're looking at with the road and the irrigation canal. Um, we fly by waypoints. It happens where even though we're slower, we naturally fall into patterns of flight that allow us to orient ourselves continuously. We're never lost in flight, but we may occasionally find ourselves temporarily uh, miscalculating our current place in time and space.
There we see Whitney heading out to the field, setting up to get it ready to launch. So this morning we saw a lot of the pilots going around getting different points and deductions. So we had some deductions, I believe. There are some no-fly zones that are set out there for these pilots to avoid, but they are out there to hit these waypoints and just gather points.
We're looking at an excellent example of the precision task as well as the don't irritate the neighbors task, in which these pilots are attempting to fly as closely to the center track at 500 feet or altitude while avoiding the neighborhoods. That's always our goal. There's so much room out here for us that we don't need to annoy the neighbors. So he's staying a respectable distance from, while at that same time maintaining the actual airspace rules that make up the nearby airport. So this is a specific direction run at a specific altitude with a significant crosswind that they have to account for. We've got crosswinds of 15 miles an hour, something like 500 feet from the ground. And when your forward speed is something in the 25 to 30 mile an hour range, that affects you immensely. These people are flying diagonally on a
Crabbing, if you will, right?
Yep, crabbing into the wind
Oh, there's a look at
on a
Colby.
road about on a line that's roughly the width of a dirt road. It is not a lot. Looks like they're coming up on 300 points.
Who's this we're looking at here?
You know, this being my first time using Gaggle, that's a great question.
Can you click on the name at all? Or?
Yeah, it's not click happy for me today. They're tiny icons, and they're not getting bigger. They're cooking though.
We see here Whitney setting up to do her foot launch. Pretty strong headwind coming at her. Whitney's our Team Limitless pilot. She's been flying since 2018. She flies with my co-pilot here, James.
I've had the pleasure of watching her progression from flight number 2 up until yesterday's domination of the spot landing competition.
Nice inflation.
Beautiful forward inflation, nice and controlled.
I can't not say that this is my personal instructor when I was at Aviator, so a little bias for me here on this one. And James as well.
It's been a pleasure to watch her fly separate from me because I'm always flying with her. So now as a spectator, it is changed. Look at that. That crab angle is 45 degrees and that wing is dancing in the air because it is not smooth. It is alive. It is turbulent. It is bouncing off of these trees.
She just turned around and said, heck no. I'm going to figure something else out. Or she's trying to get higher maybe to go.
That's a downwind leg. I'm not sure what direction she's going. She had one of the tops. She was the top scorer when she landed late in the game. on a 2.5 hour flight in which her fuel economic 80cc two-stroke engine had only burned half a tank of gas, while other folks were landing miles from the field with no fuel left in them.
Oh, Colby having a little trouble on that launch there. It is dynamic out here, as they say.
Earlier in the day, Brooks having the same thing happen. The
Mm-hmm.
earlier we are in the day, the more switchy the wind conditions can be. We're watching that windsock change by 30 or 40 degrees in a matter of about 5 seconds. That is a gigantic shift, and the wing reacts by getting pushed by the wind. So we saw Colby get rolled over as he was offline from the wind, and then we watched Brooke. His wing did the exact same thing. The air is invisible, but if we understand what it's doing, we can fly with it, not through it. We do not own the air. We just happen to borrow some of it.
Just trying to cut through it to get to the destination, get some points, and get on the board. A lot of points were had this morning, so some folks went out there and they were a little treasure happy and got locked in trying to find that special treasure. Other folks were just on a mission trying to gather as many points as they can, going through waypoint to waypoint.
You can see how accurate Gaggle is in real time. As we just watched Colby, his launch wasn't super successful, but he got blown downwind. He got blown to the left. We have a strong left to say right to left. As you look on the screen, we're pointed north. The wind is out of the southeast, and when a gust hits, it's a thermal, and it's rotating air as it goes up, and it changes the direction in real time. Flags from one end of the field to the other will be moving different directions because the pocket of air is that small and yet that significant.
It's definitely not some conditions that I would want to be out there taking off on. So
No, this is not recreational flying as we're used to. This is competition flying, and it is a workout.
you can even, one of my personal rules is when my wing won't. It's so windy, my wing won't stay just laid out. It's time to pack that thing back up.
There is a little bit of Type 2 fun going on here, but it's also something that when you can fly it as a pilot and be successful at it, because you understand the air and why you're getting bounced a little bit, take some of the fear out. Hours of this will give you the comfortability to fly outside your bubble a little bit when you go home. If there's an adventure that's just a little bit outside of your reach, or one that you're not going to be able to do successfully because you haven't had a 2.5, a 3.5 hour commute on one of these things before. The folks who have done the most real world flying in these conditions are the folks that are having the most success. And it's also the reason that we've seen these folks taken off, because they're capable of it. A lot of our pilots are hanging back, waiting for conditions to improve, but that's going to limit their ability to go up and get points.
If you were a betting man, James, who do you have in this task of the treasure hunt tonight as far as points?
As far as points, it's a matter of having an iron butt and really just cranking out miles and dealing with these conditions. So the folks who can handle bumps the best and the folks who got out there and getting after it are the ones who are going to score the highest. This morning, it was all strategy. This afternoon, it is all survival.
There was a couple survival flights coming home this morning. Here we goes Colby with another launch.
Nice forward inflation. He's going to settle himself under the wing, stop the oscillations, and take off. That he lifted off for the equivalent of a step or two and then kept running. That's a seasoned pilot move where you always keep running. Most of the time you don't need to, but there are times in bumpy air like this you'll catch some lift and then you'll catch some sink immediately after. And when the amount of lift from the wing is almost identical to your weight, a small puff will lift you up or a small breath in will put you right back on the ground.
Keep those legs a moving.
Absolutely.
All
So
right.
great technique.
We got a couple more pilots taking their wings out, getting laid out. So we got some pilots in the air.
Yep. We've got Wallow, colorful in the yellow and blue. That's both the wing and the shirt. Um,
That's style points matching the wing and the shirt.
he came down shivering and flowing blood back into his veins this morning. He was a little unprepared for the temperatures and the intensity of that flight he was on for 2 hours. But it looks like it's warmed up. He's back to the shorts.
Looks like we got Brooke firing up his motor. Gonna take off here soon. Wings all laid out, ready to go. Priming that unit up. Come on, baby, come on. You know, we've all been there. There it is. Number 14, the 1-4. Brooke is our one-up adventures pilot. He's been flying paramotors for 5 years. Initially, it was learned to foot launch at Aviator PPG.
Brooks only been flying 5 years.
Unless I clicked the
That's
wrong.
wild. Yeah. He is a veteran.
He's on a factory R with a Mav Max frame on a BGD 20-meter Luna 3.
Brooke is decades of experience into 5 years of flying time. He is a vast repository of knowledge and operates a school out of North Carolina where he's based out of. Season's about over for teaching people to fly, being as close to Christmas as we are. However, taking advantage of the good weather down here in Florida, he's doing this because he's having the time of his life.
And he's been having a great time here. We were joking. He was looking on Gaggle last night. He found some stats of his that brought him to a different leaderboard. It's not any of the leaderboards that are actually in the competition, but he's like, I'm in the Hall of Fame. I'm claiming it. I'm done. I'm retiring. You know, just having a good time. That's Brooke. He's always got a smile on his face.
He also committed a significant portion of his life
to. You're just gonna let that hang there?
No, I didn't know what direction to go. There's so much to say about Brooke. He's an absolute character. But when he discovered Paramotor, he dedicated hundreds of hours per year going out in any condition that he could fly and taking a progression that'll often take people 10 years. He did it in a matter of 3 or 4.
Yeah, I mean, you said it right after I read the stat that he was only been flying for 5 years. That that surprised me too. You'd think he'd been out there for 10 or 20.
It's the amount of flying that he shrunk into a tiny time frame, which he is just soaked up like a sponge. And so he was racing to take off this morning because he knew that time was going to be critical.
Yeah, I mean, he's an instructor, and I think that automatically when you know somebody's an instructor and such a great instructor that they've been doing it for a long time. But Brooks, oh wow, look at that!
Wind shift.
He's got it.
He caught it.
Look at the
He
skill.
recognized it, and he was able to control the wing. Flying is just controlling the wing.
Nice and stable. Gets the double hood drag. Brooke does it with style. Look at.
Oh, that wind is bouncy. And
Oh,
you see
man.
where he got bounced is right above the trees.
Great shot from Brendan there, man. You can just see that wing just bouncing up there. It is some trashy skies right now.
That's the interface layer between the atmosphere and the earth. Is this first 100 or so feet. As he climbs, I expect it to get smoother.
Can we, let's see if we can pull his gaggle up. Oh, look at that.
Oh, look at that update in live time.
That's cool looking. You can see
It's
all the
a
little
lot
bugs
easier
flying
with
around the sky.
satellite. That's much better. We're going to have more success here. Winner.
Yeah, you can see the different points, all the different pilots up in the sky. Some no-fly zones. That's what the red bordered areas are. Some of those areas are just congested areas that we don't want to be in. One of them is an airport that there's some more specific rules. I believe you have to stay below 500 feet around the airport no-fly zone area.
Government property is generally avoided unless it's managed by the Bureau of Land Management. But
There's a
say
prison out there too, I believe, right?
if you're a state correctional facility, that's a government entity
Yeah,
that
I know all
will
about
not
that.
be bothering.
I I flew near one and got accused of flying by one, but yeah, you definitely don't want to be messing with
It's
any of
one
that
where
stuff.
officially it's off the rules, but it's generally considered polite to give them a berth.
Yeah, there's a. They think that you're delivering something that you shouldn't be delivering, so you definitely don't want to be anywhere near any of that. Looks like we got Jillian heading out to the field now, and a track pilot.
I saw this line all morning. This is fantastic. So, this pilot has been searching for the hidden item, and I saw it all morning on this quadrant of the circle where I said we follow roads, we follow canals. We've got a nice road here, and they are fishing diagonally, working their way across, trying to pin down with their eyes like an eagle. They are predators in the sky on the hunt for a hidden item and points of interest. And naturally, all of these pilots end up taking the same routes. You, the sky is so huge, and yet one after another pilot has been funneled into the same channels this morning. It's been fun to watch how 50 square miles, what have we got? 10 by 10, 100 square miles of hunting ground, and pilots are falling into the same path a mile wide naturally.
You can see the list of. You can't see it on your screen, but on our screen we can see the list of pilots on the right there. And who can we click one of those and see? It highlights them. It should show us their track this morning.
I'm afraid the desktop
There you go. It's
version
highlighting the
hasn't.
name. If you click a pilot, I think it highlighted that.
Oh,
So
we
that's
got
Mo.
Mo. We got
Yeah,
Mo
and so
moving along.
you can actually see the path there. That dotted
He's
line is his path of his flight. If you want to
he
trace
is
that with the mouse.
killing it on speed bar. I know because he's flying into the wind. It's coming out of the southeast, and yet he is cruising at 34 miles an hour.
Cruising.
That is going ground. Judson Graham, 21 miles an hour on the same heading. It's a workout. He's putting about 150 pounds into a double leg press to change the airfoil shape of his wing. Oh, that's a collapse. Got to get some more wind out of it. He caught a little patch of sink.
He stuck with it though and got fancy with it. And he's flying his wife's wing, as we mentioned the other day. She is a U.S. Navy member, and we thank her for her year's service. And it is a beautiful wing. Pretty cool to be flying his wife's wing in this contest.
The wing
Strategic
choice
as well.
out here is very tactical and strategic in every sense because most people, almost everybody here, I would say, has multiple wings that do multiple things for multiple conditions. And the beautiful part of this competition is that you have to pick and stick with a wing for the whole competition before it starts.
Yeah, that is a key rule, a key aspect of this contest. You got to be strategic, and you don't know with the weather what actual task you could be. So there's definitely wings that are better for the swoop landings and the spot landings. I mean, compared to the navigation, where you want to be a bit more have more speed. Where speed is a concern. Yeah, so what with the conditions, does the man, I can't even think straight. What are the what points are the key factors that you would put into your choice of wing?
Here we got Jim out of Canada. He flew he drove 2,600 miles, had a mechanical breakdown, and got his gear here in 3 days.
What are the key factors in your mind that would go into picking your wing?
For a competition like today, I want maximum efficiency, and I want a larger wing because it's actually more efficient. The trike pilots have a significant advantage. Their weight is going to allow them to cut through the wind.
You can see it right there. He's cut through the wind, throwing some smoke at us.
He's not bouncing at all. That wing is solid.
Yeah.
It's pulling weight, and he is going to be able to go into the wind and collect points upwind that our other pilots aren't going to be able to do. So high wing loading.
Yep, he's definitely using that weight to his advantage. Looks like we've got a couple other pilots out on the field.
So high speed, high efficiency. So it'll allow you to cover the most ground, hit the most points, and yet if you can do it without burning full throttle the whole time, that's where you'll do all right.
We should take a special moment to give a big shout out to all these sponsors, especially these title sponsors: Limitless Paramotors, Air Italy, Viterazzi Motors, Limitless Paramotors, Sky Sports Egypt, and a ton of other sponsors. At the bottom there, you can see on the backdrop behind us, got some pilots doing some gassing up out there. We've got some wings getting laid out. What's going on in the gaggle?
On the gaggle, we have got folks just getting started. They're headed south towards their plan for the afternoon. They are hunting through the track. Yeah. Oh, what a beautiful track this is. Is this Mo again? Yeah. Catching back up with him from a few miles ago. He left his course and he beelined it. That's full speed bar, I think, the whole way. And now that he's entered the area of the hunt, he's widened his search pattern. He goes from straight in to weaving. He's trying to cover ground. He has gone up in altitude. He's at 800 feet. He's trying to get a landscape view to find that hidden treasure permanently located somewhere just outside of Lake Okeechobee, Florida.
Who else we got in the sky? Let's take a look at somebody else's track that we haven't taken a peek at.
Luigi, downwind, 52 miles an hour. He is covering ground.
Cooking.
He went all the way to the end of the world. That is the toughest line possible. It is the furthest southern east point headwind chase to a southernmost east 450 point goal. It's one of the biggest prizes out there. So it's worth it for these pilots to make a commitment, hour and a half of their available flight time, to come all the way out here. And
Looks like we got a pilot coming in. Some motor out situation, but the prop looks to be spinning. Maybe just says too bumpy for me. Who's in that light blue wing, do you know?
we got to come back to home base. Only wing left in the air. Yeah, you can see that little track. Wonderful.
That's Chucky.
Chucky Wright. I believe he was one of the first pilots off the ground this afternoon.
I believe he did have a motor out this morning. I heard he got a ride back from a colleague, so I never heard the result of what caused that, but
You're talking about equipment choice. Chucky has gone a different direction. He's got a powerful unit and a very fast wing, but he's done so at the expense of efficiency. So this morning he came back after about 2 hours. He was one of the first pilots back. He did a big old refill and still managed to land out before some of our competitors had finished their one flight of the day. So that power and efficiency allowed him to cover a ton of ground, and he got a lot of points for it, but he also paid the price.
he did. But so what happens into their score when you do have a motor out and get brought back to the LZ?
If you are recovered, you have a 50% deduction on your points for the whole flight. You have to give back half of what you earned because you weren't ready to get back to the field. You weren't able to prove mastery of the glider and the equipment. This competition really forces you to get the most out of every part of your equipment and your brain. Every event challenges your wing in a different way, challenges your motor in a different way, challenges your control, your determination, your stamina. It's a really all-around course that forces these pilots to become better all around pilots, honestly. Every one of these tasks is something that you do on every flight, whether you do it intentionally or not, is what makes you proficient at it.
There we got. Who's getting suited up here?
Parajet. Parajet, that's Rob Condella, fresh back from yet another international adventure. I believe he's scouting adventures to take friends and foes along with. If he doesn't like you, he'll take you into the middle of the Amazon jungle and wave off the safety boat when you end up in the river.
Rob is a sponsor of this event. He's representing Nomad Flyer, which is a merch company. You can see he made the shirts here. They look beautiful with the topo in the background. They got the Parameter STOL Classics logo on the front, and of course on the back you got all the sponsors, all the help out. Super cool. And he's got tons of other shirts with vibrant colors and flavors of all styles. Check out his merch on his website. It is sick.
I hate to call it merch because it's something that he needed for his flying needs and he saw friends needed. He comes to an event with 50 people and 40 of them need what he's got.
Yeah, it definitely has some UV protection. They're great shirts to wear in the summertime. Keep the sun from blowing getting the sweats going and just stay to that. Look at him showing off on that thing. Oh, that's sick.
What this shows is confidence, and it also tells me the air has gotten smoother. We've watched some really good pilots take off already today, and those pilots did not get that close. That tells me our air is smoothed out. The temperature has dropped a few degrees. It's only been an hour since I started yapping, and yet that change of angle, this late winter sunlight is so close to the solstice that conditions are really calming down. It tells me the wind is calming down. The forecast had called for it to stay up, but they are getting lovely. If we had more of our competitors loitering in the field, I would expect they'd be recognizing how nice these conditions are and prepping to go for a flight if they weren't planning to.
I was gonna see if we could follow Rob, but I don't see his gaggle kicking on there.
That is always a risk. I have found myself on multiple occasions pulling my phone out and turning my gaggle on, flying around the LZ before I go, because if they don't have their gaggle on, if they don't have a recorded track, then they are not going to be awarded points or possibly a 50% deduction for not proving your track. And you could have cut across some of those no-fly zones, and who's to say you didn't? So he may be taking his time, orienting himself to the wind, finding the right altitude where he's going to cruise and find the most efficiency.
See, we got pilots all over. Can you go back to? Can you choose one of the pilots and can we watch kind of their track in the gaggle app and?
I love it. We've got another classic example of life unfolding naturally, where we've got Hollywood. That is one of our own One Up Adventures pilot, Kyle Mooney. And he is doing better. 25 miles an hour, 23 miles an hour straight into the wind. That tells us that more smooth air is coming. There's not going to be anything hitting us in the next 20 minutes. So our gusts have significantly reduced, and that was the big variable that was blowing things around and getting squirrely on our pilots. Sorry, distraction. He's following this canal wonderfully. He's got a fantastic view of the beach and Lake Okeechobee.
He's having a nice day out there.
He's having a really nice flight. The air has calmed down. He can put his hands up and relax. He's in an afternoon lawn chair taking a scenic flight down Lake Okeechobee. So he's having a good time. He's glad he got up when he did, because if he launches now, it's going to take him an hour to get to that point.
And where's he headed to?
Yeah. So we've got our waypoints somewhere.
I might have changed it. I clicked this up here, but I might have.
Treasure hunt. Woohoo.
Oh, there we go. I turned it off, I
Yeah,
guess.
so he's most of the way there. The other route we see is straight out of the north, coming down. Yep, cutting across, taking a quick look as Jillian shot from north to south, chasing big points. She's making good time. 144 feet off the deck. She is low to the ground. Again, it has to have smoothed out. If it was awful, she would not be down that low. She'd be higher where the air is smooth. But this tells us that we've got smooth skies coming our way out of the southeast. She's making good heading for those points before she goes and chases this evening's hidden object. Rumor was that she made a near pass. Look at that. She follows the exact same track as the last pilot headed this way. Another one. It's a natural funnel where they are scouting a good chunk of our circle for the hidden treasure while also being almost on a direct line, minimizing wasted time as they head for more points.
Yeah, so there is a hidden treasure inside that pink circle you're seeing with a couple no-fly zones that they also have to avoid. Somewhere in there is some kind of treasure that our director Leah Catullo has hidden out there, and we don't know what it is. The only hints, again, something permanent, something that only she would put there, and she doesn't have to go back and get it. Very interesting clues. Some pilots have been, trying to put their brains together to see what it is, where it is, what kind of thing it could be, and we'll find out. Time will tell.
One of these tasks that we're doing right now is precision. Our long flights are about efficiency. And I know for a fact Colby is on an aggressive wing, the Gin Carve. It cuts up through the air. We talked about that on his launch, but it's not great on the long distance. Holding a heading, you can see he's wandered in a little bit. Part of it is that he's got nothing to follow. He's going over no man's land. He cut across a bit of no roads section. And so that's why we like to follow roads. That's why we follow canals. They keep us going in a straight line.
And you can get rescued if something does go bad.
If needed. Every one of these pilots is willing to accept the consequences of a motor out at any time. And for some people, that means 3 miles from the road. And for some people, that means leaving your gear behind in the swamp if it's 100 feet from the road.
Got somebody coming in to land at the LZ. You
I
recognize that
believe
wing?
this is Luigi. Luigi had a bit of a struggle understanding that we had some directional courses and tracks this morning. He gave himself on a east-west track instead of west-east as indicated by the map, but he went out after he came back and reviewed his flight and went right back out and crushed it. He's been one of the first pilots up in every one of the events. He's placed highly in the STOL and in the rankings. He's a very competent pilot. I would imagine he's down for fuel rather than for done for the night.
So we'll see him back up shortly, you're telling me.
I, I, I'd flip my coin on it.
Can we go through and maybe take a look at what his path was? You know how to go back to the
Yeah,
flight
Luigi.
tracker?
Um,
I have to go back a page, maybe even.
so,
Well, I meant like how it like tracks the whole
right, yeah.
the little worm path.
Let me click on you.
Oh, there you go.
No, that's not right at all. I'm going to hand over the
I don't know.
controls.
I'm just guessing here too, but you can just fill time.
What does that mean? Just breathe heavily into the microphone. For some Somebody shoot the moon.
Yeah. Here we go. So if we click on like Luigi's flight, right? I believe we can replay his flight here. The play buttons. There we go. All right. So walk us through this flight as it loads here.
Taking off to the north. So he took off out of the north. The wind was blowing southeast on us all the time. We must have had a big chunk of air come in and change the windsock for half an hour to an hour probably, as a particularly big cloud went by. Um, he is beelining it. It's where he's wiggling. He's not going straight. He's not on a road. So he is pointed south. He is chasing a track just as fast as he can. Aha, a wonderful turnaround. If you're not prepared to take a photo, you have to shoot past the thing you were aiming for and then turn around and come back for it prepared with your phone. If you try and do too many things at once, you might find yourself in the air without a pilot. Um, these things fly pretty well, but it's better when somebody's at the reins. He was flying. This is from an hour ago, an hour and a half ago. It was real windy. So he's making fantastic time, and he's finding different layers. You can watch it in his speed as it changes. I think he's on speed bar for these fast sections. You can watch it drop immediately when he gets off. Now he's following a road that is a amazing track. I can't even see what he's aiming for, but by watching the flight track, we can see. So he started off heading southeast. He knew the target was southeast, but mostly east, so he was able to follow the road for a while. Then he looked at his phone and said, oh, I can head a little more over. And he is on track to go collect that waypoint. Now, I don't even know what this is, but I expect we'll be able to see it right there. He turned 90 degrees. He was prepared for that turn ahead of time. He had his phone out ready, snapped his photo, took a left turn, and he's headed back north for more points. With a tailwind, he's going 50 miles an hour, folks. That is the speed of a lazy Sunday driver on these roads, and he is doing it diagonally across the Florida landscape at 400 feet. He is committed to that trajectory. Oh, he is covering ground, and he has a laser focus on it. Look at that flight. It is dead straight. There is no misjudging where he's going. Part of that is helped by the fact that he's going downwind. It's pushing him the right direction. Boom. There's another treasure. The field. Get him back to where he started is always important. 50% of your points if you fail to make it back. That was a really fun flight to watch. Without even seeing the map of what he was chasing, we could see it in the flight track. Gosh, you just missed out. That was a great flight. Oh boy, who do we got taking off here? This is a APCO EZR. I believe that is Yoglin. Yell at me if I'm wrong. I probably am. Nick Fazikis is coming in. He's on what we call the base leg. If you're coming in to a flight field, you're coming in on a pattern. The first is the downwind leg first. He was just cooking. Now he's crosswind on his base, and he's going to turn into the wind for his final approach. He was in the air early. This man is local to the area, and he understands that he might have some bumps, but it's nothing to be concerned about. He's got that weight, he's got that security, and he has a wonderfully smooth landing. Those are hollow carbon fiber axles he got on that back that gives him fantastic springiness. It's a very cool technology, and he's given us a beautiful kite right to where he set up this morning. It's nice when you don't have to walk too far after you park your car.
That was pretty impressive. Just right around the mic, right around the flag, just set her down perfect.
That's
That's what you want.
that's what these pilots are capable of because of their control of their machine. And it's a caliber of pilot that we love to see here at an event like this. These are folks that are here because they want to be here. They're not planning on getting paid to be here. They're doing this for the love of the sport, and their love of the sport is shown through their aptitude for it.
We got a plane now flying overhead, so the sky's not only full of paramotor pilots, we got planes up there too.
Absolutely. This is sky open to everybody. We have been blessed in the U.S. by generous rules by the FAA, the Federal Flight Administration, to allow us to use a piece of the sky that most people don't even realize exists.
Should we take another look at another track of? Oh, you took a look at Luigi. I see
Yeah,
there.
he had a wonderful flight. I would watch that debrief again. I bet you Kyle Mooney's going to have a great track. His handle is
Yeah, where's
Hollywood.
Hollywood?
hmm Oh man, we've got high feathered cirrus clouds at 40, 50,000 feet. Are those alto?
I don't see Hollywood. Did I miss it?
Wonderful horsetails. They call them horse manes, as they're reminiscent of the flowing mane of a horse in full gallop.
Are
You spend a lot of time looking at the sky when you do this sport, even when you're on the ground.
you looking at clouds right now?
Oh yeah, we've got some beautiful clouds. Uh, it says to me there's not much happening down here. It's all in the upper atmosphere. I reckon if you're on a commercial flight right now, headed against those clouds, that the pilot's going to be apologizing for a delay.
We're taking a look here at James Sutherland's flight.
Ooh, James is always rowdy. I look forward to this one. And he commits, full commit. And he is a missile man. He is heavily loaded on a drift air trike, and he is currently 12 feet above the deck. That is kicking long grass in some of these Florida fields. But he was doing it because it was effective into the wind. That U-turn was because he saw something. I'm guessing it was a checkpoint. How do we overlay the checkpoints back on there? That would be beautiful to see. Oh, what in the earth is he doing? He turned right back around. Huh. That could have been anything. That could have been something mechanical, a concern, a cramp, an extra cup of coffee. That's a really short flight track. So that was a decision to abort.
That might have been from this morning. I'm not sure that I'm right in the exact area, but let's see. What does it say here?
If it was this morning, he did have an abort where
Yeah, 9:38 this morning.
yeah, he had done a fantastic full 2 hour run. Okay, I know that flight. Yeah, he left this morning, did a long flight, got some whopper points. He drove as far as he could first thing in the morning, ripped it, came back, fueled right back up, was gone for 10 minutes and turned around and landed because he realized that he didn't need any more flying this morning. He made a safety call and a judgment call and evaluated his time and flying abilities against the conditions that were worsening at that point in time. We had low scattered clouds blowing across the state earlier, and they have all just faded into mist. The conditions have cooled.
Here's a look at Judson's flight from, I believe, this morning. He had an interesting thing
Circle
happen.
exit, circle exit.
He had an interesting thing happen during his flight. I was standing next to Leah, and she got a phone call from him, and he had to ask her to take a bio break if he could land. She didn't. She did not have a problem with that. He landed, did what he needed to do, and got back up in the sky and got some points. I believe him and Mo were tracking pretty much together this morning. Mo being the only but fans pilot, and Judson is flying for Ozone this week. Do you know much about that flight with those two stuck together this morning?
That was a fantastic move. You saw Mo and Judson flying side by side. They were following a row that was headed most of the right direction, southeast to that far point that we had seen Luigi chase earlier. They beelined it all the way there. I could see they were on speed bar for the first flight. They caught big points early and turned around and hunted for that hidden treasure for another hour and a half out there. So they were flying almost 3 hours for Judson and something like 250 for Mo. They covered a lot of ground.
You can see their track here, right in the middle. That's who we're looking now is Judson's flight. You don't see Mo in this look, but Mo was there right beside him. That was a team
Yeah, you
effort.
had to zoom in to see their separate icons because they were on top of each other. They proximity fly regularly around the country and internationally. They are pilots that have flown extensively together, and so they hit that task side by side, 30, 50 feet up to a quarter mile of separation. They can work together to test different altitudes. So one might go high, the other goes low, and you can hunt for the most favorable air.
You can see Luigi's.
Luigi taking off again. I'm glad I predicted that one right. That's neat. Yep. An hour ago, he would have been getting bounced all bejesus right there over the trees, but it's a wonderful night for flying.
Don't see him back up on the gaggle quite yet. Do you see his name over
Hope
there?
he remembers it. I expect he'll.
Oh, there he is. I'm just blind. You can see him there.
Oh, look at all the tracks. Oh, they look like cows in a field tracks. Oh my gosh, that's one of the most iconic sights is flying over a pasture and you can see the choke point where cows move between gates. They draw natural trails. You can see the Old West wagon trail from a paramotor because of the way they weave and go from place to place.
Hey, here's our director of the event now. I'm going to let her step in and talk to you a little bit about the event and what treasure hunting is all about.
We have here Leah Catullo, the architect of what we're looking at today.
Oh boy.
This was months in the making. How long has this event been working?
So we're probably close to 7 months or more, but the original idea goes back years.
From initiation when you were sitting
Yeah.
around a bar drinking after flights?
No, not quite. So
Campfire and s'mores.
so basically, we knew we wanted to put on a competition, and at the last World Championship, Henny, who is the designer of Gaggle, was running a beta test to track all the pilots to make sure that his app would adequately track everybody and potentially score them officially for the competition, which it did work. It worked 100%.
You know, I
We
have noticed that in the last year, I've watched the improvements roll out on a regular basis all year leading up to using it in this competition.
Yes. After the competition, I had an idea to use the app itself to run a navigation or endurance type championship. At the end of the World Championship, we had discussed what he could guarantee would be stable enough to run and be able to rely on, since we weren't using outside GPS trackers. And
Right.
it
So
were
you're relying on internal instrumentation for fidelity of the course metrics
from a phone.
from a phone.
Yeah. So I told them that I wanted to keep things simple to bring it to the United States anyways and do an old school treasure hunt
Hmm.
where we have
That's
navigation
tonight's
points.
task, actually.
That is correct. And we had old school You gotta give me 1 second because I am actually
Absolutely.
still working. I'll take care of it as long as.
Can we replay that so I can talk through James Sutherland's landing? Right. Yeah. Uh, so James Sutherland landing was a thing of beauty. He was coming in out of the south and just playing. He was having fun, swinging around in that smooth air on his downwind leg. Nice, clean turn to final, and then taxied just like Nick here. These top-notch pilots can put the wing where they want to. They're working with the wing, and in doing so, they can tell it where they want it to go. And it's a lot of fun to watch these pilots just land right next to their gear, right where they came from, and have the satisfaction of a good flight. Nick, you have a lot of fuel left. How was the flight? I mean, sunset is about 5:30. So, yeah, you've got good time and you've got good weather. How's the conditions been up there? I can start over and back up and repeat those.
Okay.
Okay, Nick, you just got down. You've got a little bit of fuel left. How was that first flight of yours? You
Uh,
were one of the first up, right?
yeah, Captain, I took off about 2 hours ago. It was quite thermic when we first took off. About hour and 45 minutes into it, finally started to settle down.
Yep, yep. We're noticing those conditions here from when the first pilots had taken off and were getting rotored right above the trees, whereas now the conditions are prime for enjoying a smooth flight around South Florida.
Yeah, on the way out, it was about 1,300 foot where you had to stay and not get rocked.
Okay, did what were some of the goals that you had for this flight?
I hit every point I could on the north side.
Okay, on the north side.
Yeah.
All right. So you're giving up your iPad to Leah to review that track, post-flight review, to verify that there was no violations of the no-fly zones, that the track covered the points he was supposed to hit, and just like that, points have been validated independently with the app and the review. Nick, anything you're going to do on the second flight with the re-gear? Refuel?
Just refuel, and I'm gonna try to hit. There's one more point I want to hit real quick tonight, and
Okay. Did you find the hidden treasure?
not yet.
All right. Well, we're hoping somebody will.
Hopefully, we get back out tomorrow and try to find it.
Absolutely. All right. Thank you very much for having us. Get back out there and go find some more points.
Thank you.
All right, I'm back.
You were telling us about how this competition, this week's reality, got started back when you had a chat at the World Championships with one of the gaggle designers, Hennessy, about using that in a competition.
Henny. That's awesome. Yeah, and we wanted to discuss the stability of it, and we came up with the treasure hunt would be the most stable and most guaranteed way of being able to inject no-fly zones, so basically give somewhat of an obstacle to some of the pilots, uh, and go and find what we call turn points. But the old school treasure hunt where they have to take pictures of it, and all the pilots are doing all day today is they are basically running full fuel tanks taking a flight, coming with back to me to verify that that flight was recorded, and we're only using that flight for braking airspace. So once it's recorded, then if Gaggle ends up stopping the flight and starting a new one, that I easily can see the flight, verify it, and if they did break airspace, then I can go back um, and and reduce the points to some of their prizes that they won,
Okay.
traveling around trying to grab points. Um, Pretty much.
Look at that. Can you see the tracks from the treasure hunt that they're doing this afternoon?
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
They're
So the hidden treasure
they're
was
like
an idea
bees.
of mine where I placed something out in a very large radius circle to that is about 25 feet in length, maybe 10 feet in width. It is
Wait,
bright orange.
wait. Hold up. You're giving us clues?
Yeah,
You're
because
finally telling us what we're going to be looking for? Oh, you've been very coy about this. Okay, say that
and
again.
uh,
10 by 25 feet?
approximately. I didn't actually measure it, but it's rather large and it's orange and white. And most of the pilots have seen orange and white paint on my hands, and they could think that, but I have been using paint everywhere.
You've been using orange and white consistently throughout this week's events,
Yeah,
and you're saying you've continued to be consistent with the hidden item.
this is
Okay.
correct.
All right.
And
Okay.
if any of them are watching the live stream while they're flying, now they know. Um, I did leave a clue to the most boisterous, verbally abusive pilot we've had here, Mr. Mooney,
I don't
and
know what you're talking about. The pilots have shown you utmost respect in your director role because of your ability to make their life miserable,
yeah,
should
for
you
the most
choose.
part, other than Mr. Mooney. But I love him, of course, so therefore the hidden treasure has a lot to do with Mr. Mooney. Uh,
Oh, you've made a tribute of the favorite complainer.
Absolutely. It's part of the game. Trying to work the rules as best as possible. Um, uh, as I know, only one person so far has found the hidden treasure.
Hidden treasure, that's
Only
10 by
one.
25,
Yep.
consistent with the rest of the scoring.
Yes, and the photo was sent to me while they were in the air.
Absolutely. I have done that when I just want to be greedy in sharing how delightful the sky is. When you take and send a photo in flight, it's because you're having so good a time you want to share it.
It's interesting to watch the tracks and see how close some of these pilots are to it.
What,
Uh,
what?
who is that?
Oh, look at that. I.
Yoglin? That is Yoglin. And actually, he is by the false treasure.
No.
Yes.
No. You're killing
Oh,
me.
I am as evil as
You're
they
killing
come.
me.
That is
Oh,
actually
we have a
how.
twist here, folks.
However, in the false treasure, there's an arrow pointing directly to the real one. So let's see. Do you think he's obviously
He's
taking a
considering
picture?
it.
He's taking a picture,
He has
and is he
found
going
the
to
false.
follow the arrow?
Oh my gosh.
If he
You are
takes off
killing
from
me.
here, watch. If he goes straight with the arrow,
This is fantastic.
oh
We've
my
been
god!
watching folks going straight
Oh,
lines
don't
all
make
over the
that
place.
turn! Don't make
He
that.
he might be just taking a photo of the thing or multiple photos of the thing. Sometimes you want to get it just right. He's got good fall lighting. This is a fantastic opportunity to take a good picture. So, he's just doing some cinematography.
I hope so. He is now flying further away from the actual treasure. I'm sure he is joyous, and I am going to burst his bubble. when he gets back.
Nothing has been as it
Oh,
seems.
oh, he's making a turn.
You have put
Come
a
on.
number of
Come on.
twists
Come on.
into this competition that
Come on.
nobody
Come on,
expected.
don't fly by it. Don't fly by it.
Even when you think you know what's going
He's
on,
still
she's got
getting
another
closer.
twist.
He's still getting
The
closer.
altitude of 200 feet is
Ooh.
not a good one to find something.
No.
It's not high enough. 200
No.
feet is
Oh,
a high hit, a sky
He's
hit
like-
on a
he's
sky
like-
ball and a baseball.
He's like 300 yards from the real one right now.
He is going fast. It changes how you see the landscape below you,
Oh, come
and
on.
he is not high enough, I don't
Come
think.
on, come on, come on. Turn right
This
there.
straight
Turn.
Indicates he hasn't seen anything.
Oh, this is killing me. It's so bad.
I love these tracks. You can see they're big and they're lazy turns versus, oh, Rob's taking off again. I think that was strategic. He was not gone long the first time, and now where's he going?
He definitely has passed it up.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised if he kicks his legs when he sees his next competitor in the air.
And watch everybody
This-
go over there.
I think that you're probably right. When these pilots are using gaggle, they can see what's actually going on around them. They can see some of the things we see. And what we see throughout this whole map is big, lazy turns from people who are searching and not finding. However, if they look, they may find.
So here's the thing. There have been plenty of pilots that have flown approximately the same place Jogelin had flown when he was just to the east of the hidden treasure.
They all missed it.
They all missed it.
They
In fact,
all missed
many
it.
of them, as they approached that area, they turned to the east and got further away from it. If they had stayed on their heading, they may have been within eyeshot of it. It's bright. I mean, the fact that he found the other one, which is not so bright.
Layers. You put layers into everything. You're like an onion.
Just fun. This is I myself don't really enjoy doing cross countries, but I really enjoy having tasks to do. So it makes my cross country flights a lot more enjoyable.
Oh, absolutely. Most of the pilots I know at this event are pilots that fly an hour at a time, and now they're eager to fill their gas tank all the way up and fly the whole morning.
There's people who have flown 3 or 4 full tanks of gas already.
It's outrageous.
Yeah.
The number of we're only on our second full day of competition, and yet there have been multiple fuel runs.
Yeah.
For the most efficient thing in the sky.
So even in England at the World Championship, the amount of bad weather we got, we flew very little. We had a couple days of open task windows because I was so fearful of us having bad weather. I opened the task window to all day, and it was up to the pilot to safely choose not to fly at 2 in the afternoon. There are pilots who are truly qualified, flying the right gliders, and have the skill and the experience to fly midday, and I wanted to keep that open.
The trikes were some of the first ones to take off this afternoon into some of the rowdiest air with a heavier wing loading. They handle those conditions more smoothly.
And that particular pilot also flies the 787 for work. So he flies heavy aircraft on top of it.
He's used to big air.
And
I'm going to ask him about this evening's clouds because they've been wonderful high wispies.
Yeah.
And that's where he flies. That's pretty neat, isn't it?
Yeah, this is a bit as beautiful as it is. It's also a bit disturbing for what is likely lies in our weather forecast for tomorrow.
Now, high cirrus clouds Um, I would imagine coming over the top of us high pressure system.
Potentially. However, I just think this is a frontal reversal, which is very typical of this part of Florida. So 2 days ago, it got really cold here, and it's warm. It's starting to warm up, and I have a feeling tomorrow, despite the lack of sunshine we may have, it's going to start getting really warm and humid around here. Which we also have some potentially very high winds. Hopefully later in the morning, so we can potentially run our speed course.
That humidity turns into heat bubbles that add instability to the atmosphere, making it dangerous to fly.
When I'd say the humidity makes it a little bit safer than the dry air of the desert. The bubbles here are a bit softer than the bubbles in the desert.
That's true. That change in humidity, it makes a difference, and that's something that pilots local to the area know. Nick Fazekas is familiar with this. He knew what he could expect while he was up there, and
Yeah.
so he wasn't afraid to fly in it.
Yeah, it's uncomfortable. It's not necessarily unsafe. It's very uncomfortable, especially closer to midday. There
Here
were
comes Jensen on a classic swoop landing. The man doesn't know how to land straight, as witnessed as some of his less spectacular STOL scores. But when it comes to skill and controlling the glider, he is a bit of a master.
yes, and I don't know. He's got about a half a tank. He, I think, has given up on trying to find the hidden treasure. To be honest.
It's tough. It's tough. You might be having fun out there for a while, but when you're seeking and you are not finding, it can wear on you.
Oh, the drone of just flying and going absolutely nowhere or in big giant circles. Oh, do we
Oh,
have another?
this is his track.
Do we have another pilot who
He
is
got some
just?
points.
Nope.
Who was in the area?
Oh, who's
coming.
going? Who's going towards it?
Adrian
Oh,
appears
Adrian! Go, Adrian!
to have a
He is quite
solid
calculated.
entry from straight north where we're hanging out and watching these events.
Come on, Adrian. Come on, Adrian.
Luigi on his second flight is
He is.
seeing a lot of the neighborhood. That is a fantastic track. If of the hunter looking for something, unfortunately he's in the wrong block.
Yep. Unfortunately.
When I say wrong block, I think that's about 3 miles. If I zoom in on him, will it give me his mile radius? No, we'd have to select on him. But he's about 5 miles straight line, you'd say. But he
yeah.
can't go straight line or he'd lose 50% of his points.
So this whole it's a 2.25 radius, mile radius.
4.5 miles.
So 4.5 mile diameter. Hopefully Adrian won't see those other pilots doing zigzags and circles, and he'll stay over
Oh,
in
absolutely.
that side.
When
of
you're
the
hunting, you're using your neighbor's eyes as well. If you can spot another pilot and keep an eye on them from 5 miles away, we saw the behavior when the last feller found what he was looking for, and it's obvious if you have your eyes open. But these guys might be staring at the ground
He's
so hard.
making turns in the right direction. I think we need to zoom in there on Adrian and give him a
He's
little more
5
attention.
miles away. We'll come back to him in a minute.
No,
What are
from
other
the
people?
from the spot, from the hidden treasure. He's like zoomed. If he keeps that heading, he will head right over the hidden treasure. But that's the question.
Come back to him in a minute.
If he
Where we've got pilots coming in and out from our far point. What was this point? How was this chosen?
So we have some history here in Martin County, Okeechobee County. This is a famous airport for during the cocaine
Oh,
cowboy
run strip.
days. If anybody had ever seen the movie Blow, the last scene in the movie was depicted to actually have happened at Homestead Airport. The truth is, it happened in that hangar. It was one of the first of the largest cocaine busts.
He said go back to Adrian.
Yeah, go back to
Adrian.
Adrian. He's on his way there.
I mean, he's not there yet.
Yeah, he's almost there.
He's not there yet.
Yeah, look, that's
All right.
that's the spot. Adrian, oh, come on. Little to the west. Just a little to the west, Adrian. He's so close. He's so close.
It's not a matter how close
If-
he is.
if
It's a
he-
matter if he sees it.
Yeah, if he actually sees it, I have a feeling he will have the most points of the treasure hunt. I believe he has caught almost every turn point.
And part of
Yeah.
how he did that was by flying a massive 3.5 hours this afternoon or this morning.
Yeah.
And so that's when he got most of the points, but not the hidden treasure.
Yep. He is so close, you know?
What's up? Late
So,
breaking update.
yeah.
We've got a pilot here. Judson Graham thinks he's found the hidden treasure. 850 points and a rocket towards the top of the leaderboard. So, oh, look at that turn.
Oh, look at that! He
There
turned
it is.
hard.
There it is.
Good boy, Adrian. Hide the cameras. Oh, that's so awesome. Oh,
The
where-
gaggle allows you to see in real life what the pilot is seeing in almost instantaneous. If we had a camera on his face, we could probably sync it within a second or two because
oh, that would be just awesome.
you can see immediately when that happens every second of an update.
I reckon the person behind me, they had any wits with them found it.
You're saying your fellow pilots were keeping an eye on you and you were keeping an eye on them, or should have been?
I called Mo and said,
You called Mo. Collaboration.
So,
I didn't tell him where it was.
look,
I just said it's on this side of this object.
Wow, this is fantastic.
we can't talk too much, but yeah, we got a pilot. We got a pilot who has.
That's a lot of fun. That's a good game of hide and seek.
Now you see.
That's a great
Now
game
you
of hide and
understand,
seek. They had to
right?
work for it.
Yeah, and you know it was the determined pilots. Like it
20
was
pilots.
doable.
20 pilots putting in 3 hours of searching.
Because if Adrian, obviously it looks like he saw it.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt.
The flights are pretty much clear, you know. This has turned out to be great.
That was a game of adult hide and seek, ladies and gentlemen. 60 hours of seeking.
So I
20
would think that the
pilots and-
benefit of doing it this way is that I was able to fly these places and
Okay.
verify some of the landmarks, some of the natural landmarks. Because after I created the course the first time when I flew it, some of the landmarks weren't there. Even though the Google Earth images were up to date, it's just these are active farms. These are active areas of agriculture.
Did any suburbs pop up in your months of planning? I have had that happen overnight where I go and I fly someplace that used to be a beautiful LZ field, and that's 20 houses.
That happens all the time.
That's
everywhere I fly by my house.
that didn't used to be there.
Unfortunately, I'm probably likely to lose my LZ in the next few years because golf courses and houses. Until then, I'm gonna fly it.
Yep. We've got a gravity wing coming in here. I know Kaylee had launched early in the day. This could be her on approach. Just
I
having a little fun on the way in, but that is not Kaylee.
that is
Unless she gained some weight
that
in
is
flight.
not Kaylee. That is Yoglin Vivas. Yoglin Vivas. He's done moderately well. He's practicing his spot landing.
That was fantastic. Why not take
Yeah.
an opportunity to go put it right where you want it?
Yeah, he's
Oh,
done
looks like he's going
moderately
to
well.
swoop it in. Or is he going to
Uh-oh.
head right for his... Yep, he's not worried about extra points. He's just going to put it down right where he means to, next to the rest of the pilots who are wrapping it up for night. It's a wonderful evening to be outdoors.
Yeah, now that some of the pilots believe that they have found the hidden treasure, they are coming home because, as far as they're concerned, it's a good task. Some pilots on this last flight decided to go search the big circle.
Oh, look at that. There was not just the hidden treasure hit by Joglin, but he also got points besides that, multiple waypoints besides that.
Yeah.
That was a very effective trip for him.
So I have to admit that I was being nice this morning, and I reduced the size of the radius of the hidden treasure. I actually
The
felt like it may have been a
hours of
little too
input.
much. And I kind of felt bad that at a 2.5 mile radius they would be searching over 21 square kilometers.
It's a lot of ground, but if it was too easy, then they all would have gotten it, eh?
Correct.
So I like it. That's the right. Look at that smile. In his t-shirt in December.
He's all happy.
Flying a paramotor, checking the gaggle right there.
What's he showing? Oh, look at that.
He found something.
He found something. That is for sure.
Oh, that's a paramotor smile.
Yes, it is. And the winds really did cooperate with us tonight. The fact that they are supposed to really pick up at 7 o'clock, this turned out to be an absolute beautiful evening.
It settled down quite nicely. We watched when we got out here and started the scattered at 3,500 ceiling clouds were all over the place, and throughout the afternoon, I've just watched them vaporize. The atmosphere has just given up any fight.
If we're lucky, it'll be just like this in the morning, and the weatherman will be wrong again.
Well, part of what we're going to consider is we're going to keep an eye on the dew point, because that's going to tell us something about how calm the weather is. The last couple of nights, as we progress into the evening, dinner time, while we're out here hanging around, the dew has just materialized.
This is true.
And it'll be interesting to see if that pattern continues or if we're getting a different patch of air coming into our neck of the woods.
Yeah, we shall see. Unfortunately, I cannot control that for everyone. If I could, it would be perfect days for the whole week.
They've gotten more flying in than some of these professional pilots do in 2 weeks.
Oh, easily.
100%. In practice, I watched pilots' hour meters tick up in preparation for this event. They've been excited for it for a while now.
I was very proud to see that people were actually practicing, taking flying seriously, taking the competition seriously, but to raise their own skill level. Their proficiency has changed ever since the announcement of the competition. It has definitely heated up since as we got closer.
Pilots have gotten serious, even the ones who aren't competing. I know friends who are going out there and practicing their spot landings because they might not be ready for this year's event, but they're going to be here for next year's event.
Oh, I wish everybody understood that they're ready. everybody's ready.
You can always be better.
Because you can be good and then have nerves and then not do very well.
It's been amazing to watch every night the competitors sit around the fire in bundles and teach each other how to fly.
Unfortunately, I have not hung out with them at night. I have given them their space so they can,
It's
as
been
a
my pleasure to watch.
yeah,
Thank you.
as a community, plot against me.
Absolutely. You as the architect here have to be a little bit aloof from the pilots, but I'm seeing a lot of people staying up late, having fun. It's been the best
Do we
flying
have
I've been
another
to
one
in a
in the
minute.
area? We do. We may have had another one in that area. I
Oh,
have a
well.
feeling there's a few pilots that are all going.
Oh.
Oh, who is that? Click on that one. Who?
Hollywood, Kyle Mooney is now headed for home.
Oh, and that means Mooney may take Judson off his throne.
Oh, throwing, how do you mean? Are you talking about the points for
because
the entire event?
because what I have seen, and I don't think Judson has time.
Oh, you think the amount of points Kyle scored this morning, capping off
Is
with the
gonna
find, is
take Judson Graham off of his because they're kind of competing against each other, whether or not they're podium or first or second or third or even fifth place. They're always like neck and neck,
it's
and
it was fun to watch them years ago when they were both out every morning at the field in Lake Wales, not trying to outdo each other overtly, but because they wanted to.
yeah,
And the two of them flying has been a delight to watch for years now, and it never gets old watching them swoop in.
that's the competitive nature. They're competitive pilots, uh,
Absolutely, and they do it
and
to raise what it means to be excellent in this sport.
And this is why I wanted to put on a competition in the U.S. is for pilots like this with this competitive spirit, you know. I was really shocked last night though with Whitney's double bullseye spot landing.
The so that was a first touchdown on the grass at a square, or a
That's a
circle a foot in
1 foot.
diameter,
That was a 1 foot circle,
1 foot
but
circle
more impressively,
with motor off from 500 feet.
about 45 seconds at least.
Mhm.
More impressively, it was dead center both times.
Dead center, double bullseye in
It was
darts.
so ridiculously perfect. I was just blown away. That's somebody we need to take across the pond and show the little European kids.
I've uh, I've had the pleasure of flying with Whitney for 7 years, and I didn't know she was that skilled.
She's very
The
calculated.
the mat the fact that I fly with her, but I don't watch her fly because I'm busy doing what I'm doing. So I know she lands where she wants to. I was blown away too.
I
It
think the
was
earth moves to fit her. She just says, I'm landing, and then the earth moves to be in the spot where
and
she's
and
landing.
she knows what she's doing with her equipment. She's been flying effectively the same engine for 7 years. She's been flying the same wing at Aviator and around the country for the last 3 years. She's got this gear dialed in. In fact, I think that's probably her coming in for a landing based on how clean it is. She's coming right at us. And it is a perfect angle of descent.
Yes,
It'll
that
be a
is
late
her.
swoop with a nice foot drag. That's her signature move. So wait until she touches the ground, then brake. And
And
at 5 foot 0 inches tall, has put it right where she wanted to. There
with
was no
with a
movement.
140 cm prop,
It
it
that
makes that paramotor look huge.
that that approach was
Perfect.
delightful, and nothing happened. It was clean and straight in, and that in itself is remarkable. Alternatively, we have Rob, who's aggressively descending. This is a descent technique, pointing the wing at the ground, gets you closer to it quicker. He's also given us a bit of a nice straight final. He does adventure flying around the country, so he's not usually hot dogging it in. He's making a safe, conservative choice, but with the field open and with some pilots of skill next door, I wouldn't be surprised if he gives us a foot drag somewhere in our final sequence.
Oh,
That was a great swing in.
we definitely have another pilot that is very close.
Close.
James Sutherland.
James Sutherland. He feels like he took off not that long ago, but he covers so much ground so quickly with that trike. He is.
I wonder if he's going to go to the same area where people think it is.
I think these pilots may have been talking to each other because there's a consistency in these tracks this afternoon that we did not see earlier.
So there was rumors that a pilot had already found it, and
Oh,
there were and people
yeah.
were checking everybody's tracks.
I got 3 or 4 rumors
Yes.
from our pilots this afternoon. Look at the smile on his face. He was jazzed to be here.
And as long as the pilot was able to verify the flight with me, the flight could be erased. Whether or not the competitors had seen that flight or not, to get an idea.
Ooh. Aren't the flights visible to anyone?
Yes, but during the comp, if the pilot goes and flies again or makes any changes, that original flight will disappear. Look at our host on a white horse. There is Marcos.
How did you find this place? Did you already know Marcos?
I've known Marcos 3 years. I don't remember how I found out
That is
about
a
it.
powerful horse.
That is very thick.
That is a strut.
Big
That is
muscle.
a big boy. That is a strong horse.
Yeah. I did come to a fly-in. Marcos knew who I was somehow. And invited me to come back whenever I wanted. Come stay in the house. I'm family to him, and
Paramotor is family.
he is very
Luigi,
much
I believe he.
paramotor friendly. That is Luigi. And I believe James Sutherland has gone around.
I don't see
area.
a turn that looks intentional.
Correct.
I see meandering so far, but he's going to need to turn around before he exits the circle before too long. Luigi giving a respectful distance to the horse. We cover a lot of grounds. We cover a lot of farms. We see a lot of pastures. Horses are one of the animals that we respect the most as a large herbivore. We are evolutionary bird of prey to the horse.
We definitely have pilots all facing the airport at this point. Let's see if we go to the north. If there's anybody left up here. Flying around, I don't see anybody.
Up in the north.
There's one.
Oh, that's a big triangle. That's some ground covered.
Who do we have? That is Mr. Mike Carlson from
Carlson.
Stuart, Florida.
What time is sunset? Is he going to have to hustle on this final leg?
Oh, he's going to have to beeline it right from this point and fly bar the whole way.
He's set himself some lovely point gathering this afternoon. It
Oh,
appears that he didn't share in the secret of the location of the hidden treasure. Or
No.
perhaps he found it this morning and didn't need to see it again. We've got Mr. Hollywood coming in, crowing his success in the sky, going a little upside downy. Got a case of the upside downies today coming in for a final. It's
Yeah.
a great excuse to gain altitude on your trip home when you know you
Just
can
so
have a
you-
little fun when you
yeah,
get back to base.
Just so you can lose it again when you come home.
Absolutely. It's worth climbing the stairs. with the horse, with the flair, with the approach. Kyle Mooney, ladies and gentlemen. One Up Adventures, one of the top pilots we have at this event.
Alright, I'm gonna have to get ready because these pilots are all about to...
Get antsy.
Yeah, they're gonna want answers from me, as usual.
As usual.
It has been a wonderful pleasure being here.
Jill
Getting to... Oh, look at that. What was this?
Can we get Jill on
Holy
film?
cow,
She's
maybe
really graceful.
we cannot get off just yet. I just saw something very important. Did he just fly right by it?
Yes. Oh, no. Right there. He's seen it. Look at
No,
this. Zoom
it's
in.
this one. It's nope. That's
Absolutely.
the wrong one.
He circled there.
That's the wrong one.
Yeah, but he saw it.
Yeah, that's the right one.
So did he see
This
the right one?
I think he just flew right by it.
He can't have missed it. If it's right there, he had his phone out.
Hopefully he had
ready
his
for
phone
it.
out, but he may
Yeah.
have been overjoyous about finding that.
That would be a tragedy.
Of course, it's a tragedy.
That would be a
and
wonderful
and
tragedy.
what is on here is not 16 to 20 feet.
Wonderful. That
Oh,
is
it's
a
pretty
wonderful
big,
tragedy.
but it's not 16 to 20
Oh,
feet.
you dog. You dog.
When we discuss what it looks like, and when the pilots see it, I will say, is that a hidden treasure? Or is that mark the spot of the treasure? And it did. It marked the spot of the treasure and gave you a clue to keep going. It's been wonderful. I got to keep going. Bye now.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure having you, Leah. Dude. The gummy.
Here, take a look at this, James. Looks like Kyle and Leah are discussing whether or not they found it. Now, during the time that you sat in here with Leah, I got to go out and shoot, and I got to talk to a couple pilots, and I can tell you, a few of them definitely went to the wrong spot. This is awesome.
Oh my gosh. And they would have seen it on the way home, the right spot. But
you know, it is kind of. I did see the photo of the fake one, and I would say from the picture I saw, like it's kind of the arrow is like a compass directional arrow.
Yeah.
So it's definitely very.
It's a hint. It's a good hint.
It's a good distraction, that's for sure.
What do you mean distraction?
Because it's directional, so you know it's kind of like compassy, navigation-y.
Yeah.
So you think
just
that's
point that
it.
direction.
But you think that's it, but it's hard. It doesn't look like an arrow per se, is what I'm trying to say. It looks more like
similar to an arrow in that it's got a directional heading, but
yes.
it could be interpreted in other ways.
Yes, exactly.
Oh.
So it was it's going to be very interesting. Now we did see a couple pilots that went by. Looks like
We've got Jillian debriefing after what appears to be a successful flight. This has been the fun of the weekend. Is the tiny hand? It went shopping. It's on Instagram. It's cooking hot dogs and s'mores.
it seems like the weather did get pretty calm, and it seems like the skies were nice for the last part of the flights from the two pilots I talked to out there.
Oh, it was a delight watching the air settle down and see these pilots have fun on their return to the landing.
We got somebody coming in here on a BGD.
That's got to be James Sutherland, yeah? It's a trike. No, it's BGD. Is it? The lighting's gone. I'm seeing a dark wing. It's definitely a trike. Definitely.
Got the lights. Can you see on the map who's in the area? We still got like what 7 pilots still in the sky. Some excited pilots think that they're confident they got it. Oh, this is such a cool.
Some pilots way over here. What is he doing? He's pointed away from? No way. You can't make it, dude. Oh, he's going for the point and then he'll turn around. Okay.
I,
I was worried about him circling around.
I spoke with Jensen. He said that that alleyway is a lot tighter than he actually imagined when he planned his route that way. So it's they're having a lot of fun out there with the thing.
That's a big loop. Brooke is on. He's collecting points on the northern end. After his points on the southern end this morning, he didn't hit the hidden object. He went and collected points. Cappy. That's got to be Cappy coming in, yeah? Uh-oh.
Who else you got up there?
I don't see anyone.
Oh, here comes the Trigon for a landing.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, that's Nick Fazikis. I don't see his gaggle track.
He's got the big iPad, so maybe it's under. Some of these pilots don't use their name. They've got some nicknames like Hollywood.
Yeah, but I don't see it. I hope he's got it on his gaggle, and maybe we just missed it. Again, this is a demonstration of skill, caliber, putting that wing right where he wants it, right on top of his wing bag. Oh, and his neighbors. He went over the painted line in the parking lot a little bit, but it'll buff out. So this has been such a fun night of flying. Thanks for making me watch.
Sorry, I'm just throwing on my Nomad Flyer. Bro. Yeah, no, it was really exciting. I got to listen to you and Leah discuss the flights that were happening. It was really cool to see the excitement in her face. It's something that she designed, something that she kind of helped, implement a different.
She's been imagining this in her mind for years, and to see it come off so spectacularly.
And sit next to her while she's watching it unfold. It's gotta
there's not been a moment of displeasure here. This has been a fantastic competition event. There's smiles on the face of every pilot, and
man, look at this beautiful sunset.
I think she's proud of herself for a good reason.
Who's this coming in here, James, on the trike with the streamer?
I believe this is the Hungarian.
This would be Guido.
Guido?
Arbelio? Right.
Guido, Cappy.
Oh no, Hungary. That's Cappy Simon. Sorry.
So that one's Cappy. Yep.
Cappy Simon, Hungarian American. He's on a Vittorazzi Cosmos 300 flash trike with the Dudek Drift Air 24 meter. And he's rocking some American flag lights there. That's pretty cool.
That is
rocking the red, white, and blue.
Fantastic. LEDs aren't a weight penalty with trikes the way they are with foot launch. So it's something that the trikes get to do that us foot launch pilots are a little jealous of, is to really show off with those hoops, because they're quite a lot of fun and everybody loves to see them. Once again, mastery of the wing. This is not his first time. Puts it right where he wants to.
Let's take a look at.
He's gonna pack up and go home.
Let's look at
happy
Colby's flight.
Colby. He had a fairly early start, I think, and full tank of gas for him. He was out and about covering some miles.
Colby's flying for Vittorazzi Motors.
Oh,
he learned an Aviator hanging out.
Look at this.
He's on a 185.
This is
Moster.
a messy track. Look at that.
Oh, he goes so close.
I don't know.
There's no way he saw it from that angle. He can't, I don't think.
If he was unprepared to see it, he would have circled at least once or twice. Yeah. Or he had his phone out. There's definitely something intentional here. This may have been an indicator that he saw the false target.
Yep.
So
a lot of pilots going to that false target.
Did he take a photo? Did he see it and find the next one? Because he would have crossed it closely. The man needs to pay attention to where he's going. He added probably an extra 1.5 miles to his track with that diversion to the south.
Colby from Orlando flying here at the Paramotor STOL Classics.
Colby is a more of an intuitive pilot, so my guess on this track is that he recognized it from his trip earlier in the day. This farm is huge, and he probably would have remembered passing on the west side of it and then following up the trees.
Mhm.
Um, Another natural flight track that develops without any input is funnel into this gap, has you following that line of trees out and back. It's fun how a seemingly landscape with just a few funnels can she's effectively directed these pilots to fly specific places to see specific things far aside from the actual points themselves. She's been directing traffic since they took off the ground.
Let's take a look
And
at.
before that, here's James Sutherland. He was quickly losing altitude with some spirals, now doing some porpoise dives that accelerates you towards the ground and is quite a thrill. It's effectively a roller coaster ride where you get to control the down as well as the up.
Let's take a look at Erico's flight over here on the gaggle.
Have a smooth as can be taxis to exactly where he wants, given traffic as it's currently on the taxiway, and a beautiful stack accordion style.
Take a look at here at Erico's flight. Anything specific you see there? He's flying for Sky Sports Egypt, one of our title sponsors.
Who is this?
Erico.
Erico is one of our top pilots.
Brazilian.
He got high scores in the STOL competition with daring, aggressive launches. And it was a
Which you
delight
are
to
one
see.
to know. You're one to know the aggressive launches, huh?
Yeah, well, it's something you can prepare for.
Look at this. Nick's on a horse.
What? He just hit the ground. He was just riding a trike a minute ago.
How did you fly? How did he fly with that thing?
Wow, was that in his pocket the whole time?
Put a wing on that. Let's get him in the sky.
Boy,
That dude's been on a helicopter today. He's been on a horse.
that helicopter was sick.
And he's there. He is there, and he's been on a friggin' horse. He's having the time of his life out here.
Flying is only half the fun. The flying is the rest of it, and
The helicopter ride he took, man, that thing was wild.
that helicopter was sick with the external turbine jet engine.
You could feel that thing in your soul, man.
Oh.
It was kind of scary.
was
I'm not gonna lie. I thought I had like one of those Final Destination moments. Like after it was like coming at us real low, and then it sat there and spinning. I was just like, man, if a nut fell off of that blade spinning that fast and just like came at you, it would just go right through you.
Yeah,
And I was like, I'm gonna go on the other side of the van. The thing was cooking, dude. It was like a military helicopter. This thing was gnar.
the lifespan engineering load calculations they do on those helicopter wings, they have the failure point dialed to within 5%.
Well, that's
You
making
have
me
a-
feel more comfortable. Oh, we
yeah,
got another
you have
track
a-
pilot coming in here.
And then from there, you cut that life in half. They throw away blades that have hundreds of hours of life on them
So this
in
would
the name
be
of safety.
that's got to be Guido Arbelio, right?
Yes, indeed. This is the repaired wing.
On the
The
185.
line that they were able to match spec on for how long those lines needed to be.
He's on a Moster 185. He's got 3 years experience and about 300 hours and 6 months on track. That dude has been putting some time in the
Whoa.
sky.
Holy smokes. He has been lower on the leaderboard. I can tell you that. But I can tell you that is a wealth of experience to be of that caliber. And did you say 3 years?
Yeah, it says
He is performing
3 years in foot
admirably.
launch and probably 300 hours and 6 months in trike.
In 6 months.
Three.
and 300 hours
That's
in 6
insane.
months.
That's like up like, dude, that's a lot.
That's 50 hours a month.
That's flying like 4 to 8 times a week.
I
Oh.
like to fly.
We have some guests.
We do. The locals have come to
That's
say
not
hello.
a good sign. I mean, we have to mention it,
Law
right? It's part of this.
enforcement has come onto
The
the
sheriff
scene.
just rolled up.
Listen, give me a
I guess that
stretch.
date came a little early for Leah.
Listen, sign me up. Bring him over here. Get him on the radio.
Oh,
We're
that
gonna
would
have
be
a
great.
chat. I dare you.
He
I double dog dare you.
I could go produce
Let's
that. We need
go.
Reese.
This could be a lot
So
of fun.
we have to let's update the audience. So during the first debrief, Leah said she got some complaints from the sheriff. I guess there were some local complaints. They went to the sheriff. The sheriff sent
multiple complaints from members of the community concerned about the overflight of multiple low-flying vehicles.
And so Leah let all the pilots know. She, spread the word in that debriefing and told the pilots to please. And cows was a big part of this as well. So
This is absolutely a check-in. They were already planning on coming back.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
You do this?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Now, this is if you fly long enough and if you fly interesting enough places, you will get visited by the police. That is a fact.
Yep. Well,
a lot of
I can't wait to
times
hear the update on
it's
that.
civilians. A lot of people show up because they're interested. I've been tracked down to numerous LZs where I land in a car comes screaming into the parking lot a minute later. I saw you and we
Yeah.
followed you. The police are doing their job.
They're just checking in.
They are checking in, and most of the time, they are delighted to discover what this is. They've seen it. They've heard about it. It's
Well,
been on.
I really hope that is the case.
Absolutely. All of
But
our
Leah mentioned
pilots,
that she had a coffee date with him, and I guess that coffee
all
date came
of
a little
our
early.
pilots have been flying safely, legally, and respecting their neighbors.
All right, we got 4 pilots left. Who we got left in the sky there, James?
You can watch these pilots avoid trafficked areas. We're not out here to bother anybody, and the sheriff knows it. We've got coming home to roost is Erico. Is he on the ground?
Erico's that Sky Sports Egypt pilot.
Yeah. Oh, here he is now. Speak of the Italian.
The Brazilian.
Wait, that looks like Colby's car.
That is Colby's winning.
That is Colby's car. What the heck? Oh, I clicked on the wrong guy. Erico came down like 10 minutes
So that means there's
ago.
3 pilots left in the sky. What time is it?
Oh, we have Brooke, who is out knowing he was going to go on a monster flight.
5:50 p.m. sunset at 5:30, I believe. So we got 10 minutes in the legal window with a strobe.
Coming home to roost. He's put some miles on tonight. I wouldn't be surprised if that's a 55, 65 mile loop right there.
Where's the other guy?
He was off early. He has the ability to get through the wind. Colby just landed. We think Gudio landed. Mike Carlson, I think. Yes? There. Oh, wow. I don't see Mike at the moment.
You just did that like they can't see you. What does that mean? You might as well explain yourself.
He's fine. He's on his way home.
And the last
The
pilot.
neighbors weren't looking at him. The sheriff's already here, so it's not Mike's fault. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
Sunnyland Ranch. Home again, jiggity.
And then the last pilot is over there is Carlson. Oh, that is
Yep.
Mike. That's Mike.
Yeah, so
and then
Erico's
Brooke.
on the
Brooke's still
ground.
out
Colby
there.
just landed. Mike Carlston is beelining at home, making a
Where's Brooke at there?
jetlining at home, and Brooke is
Oh, he's jetlining from
in the closing mile.
from the west.
He has put away his instruments. He is stretching his ankles and legs and flexing his toes, warming up his landing gear right now. He is probably off power or on idle, coasting in. Kyle missed the target this morning, but saw it this evening and is blown away that he didn't see it the first time around. Uh-oh, it's about Mosquito 30.
It sure is.
Bug 30 is very authentic down here.
Well, I think with 2 pilots left in the sky, I think we could probably wrap this up, James. But what do you think about the overall of this treasure hunt? It's been pretty fun to watch.
It was a delight to help out people get set up this morning. Help people get off the ground, and it was a fantastic watching the progression, watching the weather, watching the smiles of our pilots as they hit the ground. They enjoyed their flight tonight, and they are all feeling good about it.
How do you feel about watching it as a spectator from the
Oh, as
ground?
a spectator, I mean, 2x the condense it into 20 minutes, and I'm in.
You like that instant gratification. Well, I think that's going to wrap up our night for the treasure hunt for this year's the 2024 Paramotor STOL Classics here in Sunnyland, Florida. Thanks to all of our title sponsors once again: Limitless, Paramotors, Vittorati Motors, Sky Sports, Egypt, Air Italy, and all of our other sponsors you see here at the bottom of our banner. We can rip through them at another time because it's mosquito hour. We got to get some layers on and call tonight. But man, the treasure hunt. I want to fly in this next year. It's super fun.
I got to go check in with these pilots because they're going to have some good stories.
All right, we'll catch you guys in the morning. Good night.